welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, God Empress Jessie Milestone, here today to address a patron suggestion. Yes, that's right, my patrons get to tell me, give me suggestions on videos, and I do them for you guys. And this one comes from Wolfgang, my oldest and dearest patron, who wants to know, what do we do if Star Wars Episode 9 is a good movie? Or what if we do if it's a bad movie, or what if we do it's a mediocre movie? Basically, he's looking towards the future now, right? Star Wars Episode 9 is happening, whether we like it or not. It's happening. It's coming for us. And we as Star Wars fans have a decision as to whether we see it, first of all, and based on how we react to it and how we feel about it, what our relationship looks like with Star Wars moving forwards. Because this is a big deal, guys. Star Wars is a long-term relationship for us. So now that this relationship has been tried, tested, and for some people completely over, what does that mean as Star Wars fans moving into the future? Because you know now that Disney has a hold of this, as long as they think they can milk any money out of it, they're not going to stop. It's not the end of Star Wars. I mean, you still have Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. You still have Jon Favreau's live-action TV series. You still have whatever the showrunners of Game of Thrones are going to do. Those projects are still happening, right? And at some point, they're going to try to reimagine various spin-offs and things like that. Again, as long as they think Star Wars is going to make the money, they're not going to stop trying to milk our wallets and our giant fat fucks sitting on weird islands. That's just the reality of things. Now, as I've mentioned before, I find it very, very difficult to accept that there's any universe in which Episode 9 can be good. And that's quite simply because it's got a whole mess around. I mean, we are hearing the rumors now that it could be split into 2 movies. I feel like if they split Episode 9 into 2 movies, that's about as much of a solid admission from Disney as we're going to get that they fucked up. Because, I mean, sorry, I'm not supposed to be swearing as much. I'm trying not to. It's hard for me. I'm trying not to. It's just better for everybody if this is a PG-13 show. Anyway, yeah, so I think it would just be a huge admission of, oops, we messed up. We need 2 movies to finish up this trilogy. That means we were not doing a good job creating a trilogy. We were not doing our jobs as caretakers of this trilogy. Anyway, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that either, as I've said before, you got kind of like 3 possibilities. Either it just kind of completely ignores The Last Jedi and does its own thing. Either it just follows the blueprint that The Last Jedi gave it, which would, of course, would be a nightmare. Or it sort of tries to spends its whole movie trying to fix The Last Jedi and the things that were wrong with it. If it does that, it's not going to be a good movie because obviously it's going to be fixing things. If it follows the vein of The Last Jedi, it's not going to be a good movie because it's going to be like The Last Jedi. And if it just follows whatever JJ's idea is, I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in it to be good. I don't particularly care for The Force Awakens. I feel like it'll just be another copycat movie. But, like, even if it's a good movie, you know, on its own, arguably The Force Awakens is a fine piece of cinema, you know, it's just not going to fit in the trilogy because it's not going to make sense. It's not going to flow with the other movies. So I have a hard time accepting that it could be good. But in a crazy universe where it is, yay? I mean, at that point, too, so you have to consider a lot can change between now and next December, right, at Lucasfilms as well. And a lot of what we've been asking for as fans is for some of these mistakes to be rectified, and not just what they've done with the movies. We're talking about the treatment of the fans, the way that they've come at the fans and tried to marginalize us and push us away and tell us we don't matter and insult us. So if we get what we want and we find that Rian Johnson's trilogy has in fact been canceled, if Kathleen Kennedy does in fact get fired next month, fingers crossed, or ever, you know, that's the beginning of an apology that I can accept and move on. So if those things happen before Episode 9 comes out, I'm going to be much more willing to go see that movie. Opening weekend, opening day, I don't know, but I'm definitely be much more willing to see that movie if those elements are, boom, that's going to be, okay, you guys took that step to rectify what's been done to Star Wars, to acknowledge that you're not taking it in the right direction and you're fixing it. I will take a step towards reconciliation and go see your movie. See what you did with it. I'm fully expecting mediocre to bad. Again, if it decides to follow in the footsteps of The Last Jedi, it's going to be horrible. If it kind of tries to fix things up, it'll probably be horrible. It could just be mediocre. And if that happens, it's kind of, I don't think that's affecting the way I feel about Star Wars moving forwards, because I feel like I'm already set in that, right? I've already written off the sequel trilogy as a wash. Now, moving forwards is going to be less for me based on Star Wars Episode 9, how it does, how it's received, what they do. And now, of course, if they just go full identity politics and screw you, everyone who hates this movie, and just double down on their previous methods from The Last Jedi, I'm gonna be hard out on that, and I will wage a war against Disney and Lucasfilms until my dying breath, because that's just not right. I think they've learned from their mistakes enough that they're not gonna go that route. In which case, it's a wash for me. Like, thank God it's over. That miserable chapter is over. We've survived it. We're at the other side of it. And now what? And again, that's going to be, for me, decided a lot more by, like, personnel and by the administrative and somewhat creative side of things, and how they decide to handle that. Okay, we're actually going to, understand what the fans want and try to give them things that they like and that they want. I think we can all pretty much agree that if Ewan McGregor comes back to do a Obi-Wan movie that's set in between 3 and 4, we're probably going to go see it, because, let's face it, that's an interesting story point, and Ewan McGregor is a phenomenal Obi-Wan, so that's that. But in terms of, it's like it's a quid pro quo now. You got to do something for me, and I'll do something for you. All right, you want to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy? You want to get rid of Rian Johnson? You want to hire somebody competent to do a Star Wars movie? Yeah, I'll go watch a movie. That's kind of where we're at. It's like, it's not up to me necessarily to say, here's how I care about Star Wars. It's kind of up to Disney to court me and get me back and win me back. And that's the thing. And in terms of, like, will I keep following it? I'm sure I'll be aware of it. It's kind of hard not to be. I mean, like, the Star Wars, eat, breathe, live Star Wars. But for me, ever since The Force Awakens, I really settled into this idea where, like, the original Star Wars, that's my Star Wars. What Star Wars means to me is what it has meant to me until Disney started making movies. And I'm doing everything, and building a wall, if you will, in my brain to separate those two things, right? Star Wars, what Star Wars is and what it means to me and how it makes me feel is something entirely separate from anything Disney has attempted to create. And as such, I will continue to follow what Disney does with Star Wars the way that one follows a sinking ship, out of morbid curiosity. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's kind of where I'm at. I'm sort of in like I'm not as much of a like, oh my God, everything's horrible anymore. I'm sort of like, oh, well, there's stuff going on. There's obviously chaos going behind closed doors. There's obviously big changes in the works. So I'm sort of in the place of sitting back and being like, all right, Disney, what you got for me? What you got for me? So that's where we land, Wolfgang. What do you guys think? What is your relationship with Star Wars? How has it changed? Are you going to continue to follow Star Wars projects in the future? Are you not? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Guys, if you're not subscribed, please do that. Click the bell so you always get notifications. If you want to give me Patreon suggestions, sign up for my Patreon. It's an awesome place. And by the way, I am, since I'm working on this Censored Jesse for Mindless Entertainment, I am going to throw full-on crazy, uncensored Jesse onto Patreon, and I actually got a really juicy one for you on there. So if you are one of my patrons, make sure you go check that out. If you're not one of my patrons, consider joining up with that community so you get access to the fieriest of the the fieriestness that the God Empress has to offer you. Also, if you haven't heard yet, because I will go to the ends of the earth for my fans, I am doing my best to get to Australia for a fan-turned-friend's wedding. Yes, a fan, started as a fan, one of my patrons, amazing person, has become a friend, and I am trying to go to Sydney for his wedding, but I can't do it without your help. So there's a crowdfunder. If you can give, that is amazing. If you can't, please share the link, get the word out there. Let's make it happen. Then you guys will get to see awesome videos from me in Australia and think about the amazing times in the future where I'm in a crowdfund to come see you for your special day. And yeah, that's all.